Girls losing their virginity. Don't listen to Madonna's Like a Virgin song because losing your virginity as a girl isn't really the most romantic thing in the world. It's actually very painful for most girls. Think of it as putting on a pair of skinny jeans that just came out of the dryer because everything is tight, uncomfortable, and alarming. The pain usually comes from the hymen stretching, tight muscles, or insufficient lubrication. Some feel a quick sting, while others feel like their body is saying, "No penis allowed." The hymen is a thin tissue at the vaginal opening. Some girls are born with very little, while others have more. If it tears, there might be pain or bleeding, but many girls don't even notice because their hymen has already stretched from activities like sports, tampon use, or wild dance moves. It's like a biological scratch-off ticket because some have it, while some don't. Even if your hymen has already stretched a bit, you can still feel intense pain because of tight muscles. When you're nervous, your body clenches up like a phone at 1% battery. The more anxious you are, the more your body resists. It's like trying to push open a door that says pull. Lack of lubrication makes things worse. If the vagina is too dry, friction turns sex into a 1-star Yelp review experience. Natural lubrication helps, but if someone is stressed or rushed, their body won't cooperate. Getting hit in the testicles. Getting hit in the testicles is like getting a surprise visit from Mr. Pain himself, and it's not a friendly one. That's because the testicles are full of nerves, but have no armor. They just sit completely unprotected, like two clueless tourists in a bad part of town. One unlucky hit and your body launches into full crisis mode, and the pain doesn't stay in one place because it shoots up into your stomach like a surprise attack. Suddenly, you feel like you swallowed a brick. Your body then reacts in the weirdest ways. Your legs stop working, you bend over like a broken action figure, breathing becomes a challenge, and your eyes start watering like you just watched the saddest movie ever. If the hit is bad enough, your brain might even decide to shut everything down for a few seconds. The pain lingers a while after getting hit in the nutsack. Minutes stretch into eternity. Swelling or bruising can happen, making everything worse. A really bad hit can cause serious damage, which is the universe's way of saying maybe your balls need armor. Your instincts take over, so you grab the area like it's a national emergency. You stay frozen, hoping time itself will rewind. You may also make strange noises that have never come out of your mouth. Ice is your best friend after this disaster. Lying down also helps, though so does questioning why life allows this level of suffering. If pain sticks around too long, a doctor should be involved because some things should not be left to chance. Menstrual cramps. Let's say you have a tiny gremlin hiding inside you and using your uterus as a stress ball. That's kind of like what menstrual cramps feel like. The pain can be sharp, dull, or a deep ache that makes you question why God made you a woman. It happens because the uterus is trying to evict its monthly guest, and it's not being gentle about it. The main culprit in this painful scenario is prostaglandins. These are tiny chemicals with a big attitude, making the uterus squeeze like it's in the world's worst workout. The more of them there are, the worse the cramps. You might get mild discomfort, while others feel like they're being folded like a pretzel from the inside. Cramps can start before the period and last for days. The pain loves to travel, spreading to the lower back and thighs like an unwanted road trip. Some people also get nausea, dizziness, or diarrhea because cramps like to form a symptoms gang. But the worst part about cramps is that men often think they're a minor inconvenience. The truth is that they're a monthly disaster for many women. If men also had to deal with this, the world would have invented a cure centuries ago. So if you can stand the pain because being a lady means bearing the pain of the world, then good for you. But if you want help, a heating pad or warm bath can improve things. Painkillers can also block prostaglandins, which is basically telling those chemicals to sit down and be quiet. Exercise, stretching, and massage might help if you can even stand up long enough to try. Paper cut. Imagine a microscopic saw slicing through your skin, making you feel the worst pain a cut could ever give you. This isn't anything like accidentally cutting your finger with a knife while doing your best Gordon Ramsay impersonation in the kitchen. Instead, it's a paper cut, which is more like nature telling you that small things can cause a world of pain. This happens when paper, the thing you trust to hold your important thoughts, betrays you by slicing into your skin. It usually happens on the fingers, the VIP section of nerve endings, ensuring you feel every bit of the agony. Paper cuts hurt more than regular cuts because paper is secretly evil. A knife has the decency to make a clean cut because of how smooth the blade is. Meanwhile, paper has tiny jagged edges that tear the skin. Imagine a saw cutting through a tree, but the tree is your finger. So essentially, paper takes revenge bridge for all the trees cut down. What makes it worse is that the cut is too small to bleed much, so instead of scabbing over and healing, it just sits there, exposed, screaming in pain every time you move. Paper isn't even dry and innocent. It carries tiny fibers, dust, and chemicals, all jumping into the cut like party crashers. This makes the wound sting like hell. Childbirth. Imagine running a marathon while someone punches you in the gut every few minutes. That's what giving birth feels like. It's a long and painful process that makes the whole 9-month pregnancy feel like child's play. The pain starts with contractions. At first, they feel like bad period cramps. Then they turn into a full-body alarm system, screaming, telling you something big is coming. They come closer together, giving you less and less time to breathe. Your body is basically telling you that break time is over. After that, the pain spreads everywhere. Your belly, back, hips, and legs all join the party. It feels like being squeezed, stretched, and trampled by a herd of invisible elephants. Some people vomit, while others scream like they're summoning creatures from another dimension. Then comes the pushing. This is when you realize your body is a terrible architect because the baby is supposed to fit through a space that clearly was not designed for this. The pressure is so intense, it's like you're trying to push a hippo through a hula hoop. The skin stretches and the muscles scream. In the worst cases, you might need stitches. Whatever the case, sitting down will not be fun for a while. Even after the baby is out, the job isn't done. The placenta still has to come out. Your uterus keeps cramping to stop the bleeding. It's like your body is telling you that maybe getting a second child might be a bad idea. Meanwhile, recovery is no joke. Sitting, walking, sneezing, and basically everything hurts. The bathroom becomes an obstacle course, and ice packs and pillows become your best friends. You might feel fine in a few weeks, but others wonder if they will ever sit normally again. Box jellyfish sting. Imagine getting whipped by a burning, electrified noodle of doom. That's what it feels like getting stung by a box jellyfish. Its tentacles are covered in tiny venom launchers. When they touch the skin, they fire venom like tiny poison harpoons. The pain is instant and brutal because it makes you feel like a party of lightning is happening on the affected part. The sting leaves angry red marks, like you lost a fight with a barbed wire fence. The venom spreads fast, attacking the heart, nerves, and skin like an overachieving villain. This causes the body to freak out. Breathing gets hard, nausea kicks in, and your heart doesn't know if it should speed up or take a break. Some people collapse from sheer agony. In bad cases, the heart just stops, as if it decided this situation is too much to deal with. Just when you thought it was over because you survived the encounter, that's just the appetizer. The pain lingers for days. Your skin may blister like you lost a battle with a flamethrower. Muscles can ache for weeks, as if you had a wrestling match with Brock Lesnar. Some people even get nightmares. Vinegar helps stop the venom from worsening if you want a quick fix. Pouring it on the sting helps, but does nothing for the pain. Rubbing or rinsing with fresh water just wakes up any leftover venom, which is like poking a bear with a stick. Paramedics may need to give strong painkillers or even restart your heart. Testicular torsion. Testicular torsion is like your testicle playing a cruel game of Twister with itself. The spermatic cord twists, cutting off blood flow. Without blood, the testicle starts dying, and that is not a fun way to go. The kind of pain you feel is like getting kicked between the legs by an angry horse. But the pain never stops, so it's like the horse doesn't stop kicking. It can also spread to the lower belly, just to make sure you suffer everywhere. The scrotum may swell and turn colors like a sad balloon animal at a birthday party. Some people even throw up because their body just gives up on handling all the misery. Because of how painful it is, this is a medical emergency, not a walk-it-off situation. If you wait too long, the testicle can die, and doctors might have to remove it. Losing a testicle isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely not on anyone's bucket list. It can lower testosterone and sperm count, which is bad news for plans of world domination. Torsion mostly happens to teens, but it can strike at any age. It can be random, caused by an injury, or just bad luck. Some people are born with wobbly testicles that twist too easily. Cold weather can also worsen things, as if winter wasn't bad enough already. Meanwhile, the only fix is surgery. Doctors untwist the testicle and stitch it in place, so it doesn't pull the same stunt again. If treated fast, the testicle survives. If not, well, say goodbye to your plans of driving 5 kids to school. Priapism. Imagine going through life with a permanent heart-on. People always ask, is that a banana in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? That's priapism. It's a condition where the penis stays hard for too long, usually more than 4 hours. But it's not fun or sexy. Instead, it's actually quite painful. What happens here is that blood gets trapped in the penis and refuses to leave. This leads to swelling, pressure, and a lot of pain. The longer it stays, the worse it gets. Without fresh blood, the tissue starts dying, which is as bad as it sounds. That means it's not something to brag about. It's more like a suffering from success kind of situation. Meanwhile, there are two types of this condition, ischemic and non-ischemic. Ischemic is the worst. The blood is stuck, the penis is rock hard, and the pain is unbearable. Non-ischemic is less painful and usually happens after an injury. Basically, one is a traffic jam, the other is a flood. Neither is good. Many things can cause priapism. Some medications, especially for erectile dysfunction, can backfire in the worst way. Blood disorders like sickle cell disease are common triggers. Drugs, alcohol, and even spider bites have been blamed. Imagine explaining that last one to a doctor. Treatment depends on the type. Some mild cases go away with ice packs or light exercise, but ischemic priapism usually needs a doctor to drain the blood with a needle. Yes, they stick a needle right there where the sun doesn't shine. If that doesn't work, surgery might be needed to create a new exit for the blood. No one wants to hear surgery and penis in the same sentence, but sometimes it is the only option. Bullet ant sting. The bullet ant sting is like nature's way of giving you a free trial of unbearable pain. People say it feels like getting shot, so if you want to know what it feels like when a bullet goes through you without the consequence of death, you might want to try getting stung by a bullet ant. This kind of pain isn't sharp or sudden. Instead, it makes the whole area feel like it's on fire. Unlike a bee sting that lasts a few minutes, this one sticks around for hours. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and it's the kind of gift that doesn't come in a neat package. And if you want to know how painful the sting is, it's at the top of the Schmidt Pain Index, which basically means it's won the gold medal in the Insect Sting Pain Olympics. Now, the reason why it's so painful is that the venom messes with your nerves and floods them with signals, making your brain freak out. It's like your body is getting spam emails that say pain over and over again. On top of that, the sting causes swelling, redness, and sometimes temporary paralysis. So you not only feel awful, but you also look like you lost a fight with an invisible enemy. Some Amazon tribes use bullet ant stings as a coming-of-age ritual. Young boys wear gloves filled with ants to prove they are strong. It's basically the world's worst graduation ceremony. Many of them pass out from the pain, which is a reasonable response when your hands turn into tiny lightning storms. The worst part is there is no real antidote. You just have to suffer. Ice and painkillers help a little, but mostly you just wait and regret your choices. The good news, you won't die. The bad news, you'll wish you could, at least for a few hours. Anal fissures. Imagine giving birth to an entire watermelon with your anus. That's what anal fissures feel like. It's a tiny tear in the skin of the anus, making your body feel like you've dropped a soap bar in the prison showers. This condition happens when you probably shouldn't have eaten 5 rounds at a buffet. That's because it's mostly caused by a hard or large stool that tries its best to squeeze out of your butt. This results in a sharp, burning pain that makes you wish you were suffering from diarrhea instead. What happens here is that the anus has a muscle called the sphincter. When it gets angry, it throws a fit. Spasms make the pain worse, and slow healing. It's like your butt has a cramp that won't let go. You might feel a deep ache, even when you're not on the toilet, as if your rear end is holding a grudge. Most fissures heal on their own, but you have to be nice to them. Drink water, eat fiber, and use stool softeners so your next bathroom trip doesn't feel like passing a brick. Warm baths can help relax the muscle, as if your butt now demands spa treatments. Numbing creams can help too, turning your pain into a dull, distant nightmare. First anal penetration. The anus was designed to get shit out instead of having something stuffed inside it. It's not a big fan of surprises because it doesn't self-lubricate. So if someone rushes in like they're late for work, the body will protest and make you feel a ton of pain. Pain happens because the anal sphincter is tight. This muscle is like a stubborn bouncer at a nightclub because it decides who gets in and how fast. If penetration happens too quickly, the bouncer panics and shuts everything down. The skin around the anus is also delicate. If there's too much force, small tears can happen. This is nature's way of saying that maybe some lube would have helped. That's because lack of lubrication is a big mistake. The anus is like an old rusty door hinge that needs oil, or it's going to squeak and resist. Without proper lubrication, friction turns into a full-blown protest. Spit dries too fast, and lotion can cause irritation. So using the right lubricant is like bringing the right tool for the job. Meanwhile, tension makes things worse. If someone someone is nervous, the muscles clench like a scared cat. The more tense the body, the more painful the experience. Slow breathing helps, but so does the realization that panic never makes anything better. Going too fast or using too much force is a disaster waiting to happen. The rectum is delicate, like a fancy wine glass. If treated roughly, it can break, and no one wants to explain that injury in an emergency room. The good news is that this isn't something you'll dread forever if you like being at the bottom. Eventually, the body gets used to anal penetration, making the next sessions a bit more bearable than the first. But nothing beats proper preparation and lubrication. Cluster headaches. Cluster headaches are like nature's way of reminding people that pain has levels, and this is the final boss. The pain is so bad that some people call them suicide headaches. You'd probably choose to unalive yourself instead of bearing this pain because it's like having a tiny evil drill behind the eye. The pain sticks to one side of the head, right behind or around the eye. It doesn't throb like a regular headache. Instead, it stabs, burns, and makes you feel like your skull is being used as a stress ball by an angry giant. People don't just lie down and rest. They pace, rock, and sometimes even smack their own heads, hoping that somehow a new kind of pain will cancel out the old one. But that doesn't work. What makes the attacks worse is that they don't build up slowly. Instead, they kick the door down in minutes, cause chaos, and leave between 15 minutes and 3 hours later. They also love a schedule. Some people get them at the same time every day, like a very unwanted subscription service that no one signed up for. Then there's also the fact that cluster headaches don't come alone. The eye on the bad side gets red and watery, as if it's crying for help. The nose either runs like a faucet or refuses to work at all. Sometimes the eyelid drops, like it just gave up. Unfortunately, doctors aren't completely sure why cluster headaches happen, but the hypothalamus, the body's internal clock, is probably to blame. It seems to think this nightmare should be scheduled regularly. Triggers include alcohol, strong smells, high altitudes, and bright lights. In other words, living.